Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is Clara, and this is our COM 131 presentation. We chose the communication accommodation theory by Howard Giles.
We chose this theory because it is one of the most popular theories in the communication field, and we liked that there was a lot of research every day and in theory, and looking into that.
So just a little bit of a breakdown. We're going to do our author biography, dive into the major tenets, and then how research is applied every day, and then the summary. So Howard Giles, he's a well-known British social psychologist. Howard Giles has greatly influenced the communication research field. He is now a communication professor at the University of California, Santa Barbara, where he still teaches and conducts research. Giles is well known as the founder of the communication accommodation theory, which he first suggested in the 1970s. His dissertation has grown into a basic concept for understanding intercultural and interpersonal communication, with outstanding relevance in both academic and professional settings. He observed that sometimes people unconsciously change their communication styles through their accent, tone, speech tempo, and vocabulary to match closer with a distinguish themselves from others. His research focuses, throughout his long academic career, Giles has written significantly on topics including language, identity, social psychology, and intergroup communication. So Howard Giles has not only been a leader in communication theory, but also a supporter of communication that values variety, builds connections, and advances with awareness and purpose. So his impacts on policy and practice, the accommodation theory, it describes how social, psychological, and environmental factors change the way people talk and their body language. The main reasons for these changes are usually to improve identity, close social gaps, or reach relational goals. This could include copying words, speaking rate, tone of voice, and more, as well as nonverbal actions like gestures or facial emotions. So Giles collaborated with other communication organizations, including the International Association of Language, Association of Language and Social Psychology, and the International Communication Association. His essays reveal how communication both reflects personal goals, identity, and social power, and acts as a tool. The communication accommodation theory has become an essential tool in the study of human interaction, thanks to his capacity to integrate theory with practical, real-world application. So, apart from CAT, Giles has done significant research on intergroup connections, especially in the fields of language attitudes, ethnic identity, and majority-minority communication dynamics. Outside of the university, Giles' concepts have clear practical effects. His advice to law enforcement, doctors, and business executives has helped to put in place communication plans promoting cross-cultural awareness and reducing intergroup conflict. He has also incorporated national and global policy conversations on aging populations, particularly about how communication can either empower or exclude other people. Some of Giles' professional accomplishments include winning several awards for lifetime achievements, outstanding scholarships, and leadership. So some of the major tenets, the motivation for accommodation, so social acceptance, identity maintenance, and achieving interpersonal goals. Communicators assess situations to choose if they should choose convergence or divergence accordingly. So that's just to satisfy their social or relational requirements. For over-accommodation, overdoing or misjudging communication adjustments, often perceived negatively, can seem patronizing, elder speak, and that's just where younger people find themselves talking too simple or reducing language to address older individuals. It also highlights the needs for sensitivity and contextual awareness. And then nonverbal communication includes eye contact, gestures, posture, and proximity. It can support or contradict verbal messages. And just mirroring the body language shows engagement, and then a closed off posture might signal distance.
So there are many research applications that the communication accommodation theory covers. The communication accommodation research in theory explores how people adjust their communication styles during interactions, either adapting to appear more similar or changing to emphasize differences. Many studies have been conducting utilizing this theory and testing it in different settings and locations. Some examples of research applications of this theory include healthcare, family dynamics, online communities, interpersonal relationships, and cross-cultural communication, which helps us to understand how communication and the accommodation of communication impacts relationships, perceptions, and social dynamics of everyone involved. There's vast research on how communication accommodation theory shapes the online community. In most cases, people are genuinely themselves, just without reserve, in an online community because they believe that there is a common bond within this niche, and those people see the world through its common causes and effects for the entire humanity, or feel a certain bond with the people involved in this world just because they are all there for the same thing. I also found it interesting that in research, it is noted that many people interacted with and created friendships with those that they typically wouldn't in the outside world because of class or location, but felt supported and felt a sense of belonging in the online environment. In a healthcare setting, communication accommodation theory can be used to understand how patients and healthcare providers adjust their communication styles to achieve trust, understanding, and ultimately patient satisfaction. For example, a study has been conducted exploring how healthcare providers react to patients speaking up about their own healthcare, highlighting intergroup and communication accommodation theory in these particular settings. In family dynamics, communication accommodation theory can help explain how families communicate about sensitive topics such as sexual identity. This shows how intergroup dynamics and communication styles can influence relationships in a family and the level of satisfaction in the relationship. One experiment and study conducted showed how family communication changes when a family member discloses their sexual identity, especially if it goes against what others think, and how it can lead to dissatisfaction in the family dynamics and relationships. There are also many everyday applications of the communication accommodation theory. We use communication accommodation almost without realizing it in everyday life. The book defines this theory as people accommodating their speech to the receivers in order to gain approval and maintain positive impressions. As we have seen in studies and everyday applications, our tone and nonverbal behavior can also be manipulated to gain this trust and satisfaction for both parties involved. For example, you might use slang words with your friends or gamer speak when playing online to feel closer to the groups and people involved. This could also be seen by someone using a different accent to highlight their identity in a group of people different from them. This theory can also be seen played out in many everyday real-life situations such as customer service jobs, job interviews, texting, tourism, or even workplace emails. Most people want to be well received and accepted, and adapting to the particular situation, people, or place is a well-researched and proven theory. In interpersonal relationships, we use this to build rapport, show respect, or establish our distance. In intercultural interactions, this can be how we navigate differences while still showing respect for their individual identities. Communication accommodation theory is a natural part of communication that happens in almost every conversation every day. Accommodating others' needs is a fundamental part of successful interaction. Everyone communicates in their own unique way. People adjust their communication strategies to fit the present circumstance. Whether it is work, a social event, or first impressions, people attempt to present themselves in the most appealing fashion. Being accommodating to others can be beneficial for many reasons, but there is also a point where a person can be overly accommodating and be perceived as fake. Think about a person working a customer service or telephone job and how their tone, wording, and attitude is different from how they interact with customers and how they act when they are only around other coworkers. Communication accommodation theory always makes me think of the phone voice that you use when you interact when calling customers compared to your everyday voice. As humans, we almost automatically change how we are to accommodate others' feelings, because typically that is the quickest and best way to get your point across and guarantee that the receiving party gets your message how you've intended. And to reflect, communication accommodation theory explains how people adjust their communication styles, which includes speech, tone, and behaviors, verbal and nonverbal, by either converging or diverging during interactions to either reduce or emphasize social differences. The desired outcome of convergence is typically to create social approval, build rapport, and foster understanding. On the other hand, divergence can reinforce group identity or highlight individuality. Communication accommodation theory shows that these adjustments are influenced by factors such as social status, group belonging, and interpersonal goals, which plays a crucial role in shaping relationships and social dynamics. We each make intentional or unintentional decisions within our communication styles, and therefore adaptations to be better communicators and to reach the goals of shared meaning that are so important in the communication process. I believe that the communication accommodation theory is one of the staples in the field of communication and truly shows that our natural reaction as humans in this process is to come to an understanding, whether by finding similarities and common ground to work together on, or by embracing what makes us all different and using that to learn and teach things that are unknown or unfamiliar to us so that we can all be competent communicators. And that is our presentation on communication accommodation theory. Thank you so much.